You can scream your prayers into the night sky, but if within you there is still the frequency of fear, the universe can only hear that. Because the universe does not have ears to listen to the language of humans, it only feels the rhythm of the frequency you emit. Every word, every action, every dream you speak, none of them can reach the universe if they are not wrapped in the corresponding energy. Like a radio, you cannot catch your favorite song unless you tune to the right frequency. The universe does not respond with logic, but with resonance. Tesla once said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So what you need is not to speak more clearly, but to vibrate higher. When you are filled with gratitude, you are sending out the signal that you already have. When you feel prosperous, even when your pockets are empty, you are telling the universe, I am abundance. And then, like an unshakable principle, the universe must respond. Not because it is rewarding you, but because you have become a part of it. Remember this, the universe makes no distinction between imagination and reality. It only knows vibration. When your mind is filled with the images of what you desire, when your emotions are in harmony with its frequency, then, even if nothing has yet occurred on the outside, the door has already begun to open within. Try to recall a moment when you lived with your heart, a moment when you no longer doubted, no longer calculated, simply knowing. That feeling needs no proof. It is the deepest truth. That feeling, it is the voice the universe listens to. We did not come to this world to learn how to control reality with rigid willpower. We came here to remember that we are a part of the great flow, and that flow reflects us through what we feel, believe, and emit. You don't need to shout louder. You need to live deeper. You don't need more pleas. You need less resistance. You don't need to become someone else. You need to remove the mask that distorts your vibration. Because everything you long for is not outside of you. It's just waiting for you to adjust your frequency and agree to receive it. Everything you call a miracle is the result of the precise resonance between your inner being and the heartbeat of the universe. There is no randomness. There is no bias. There is only reflection. Look at those who live with unwavering belief. It's not the belief they speak, it's the belief they are. They walk as if what they desire already exists. They don't need to act. They don't need to try to believe. They simply cannot not believe. It's not an illusion, it's synchronicity. And so, the world bends to them. Have you ever wondered why some people always seem to be lucky? Because they don't just hope, they broadcast it. They don't just think of success. They emit the frequency of someone who has succeeded. And the universe, like a living mirror, can only respond by reflecting that back. When you understand this, you no longer seek validation from the world outside. You realize that you are creating that world, not through intellect, not through plans, but through the root vibration emanating from the deepest parts of your being. Neville Goddard called it the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not desire, not longing, but the feeling of having already become. You must feel it now, in this very moment, despite what your physical eyes may see. For vibration does not wait for proof to exist. It creates the proof. Just like when you love. True love needs no reason. It doesn't come from thought. It explodes from the heart, from a vibration that transcends reason. And in the same way, everything you desire must be activated by emotion, by the vibrational state you align with. Greg Braden once said, "Your heart is the most powerful broadcasting device you own, and you broadcast all the time. No need to speak, no need to write it down. You broadcast with every repeated thought, with every emotion you hold tightly, with every image you let your mind cycle through in silence. So if you're asking, what do I need to do to attract what I want? Зрение – ответ. Вы не нужно делать ничего, вы должны стать тем, кем вы есть, and not tomorrow, but right now. The moment you adjust your vibration, you've already started rewriting the script of your life. Don't try to control how it comes. Don't set conditions. Don't confine miracles to the limits your mind deems logical. The universe doesn't need your logic. It needs your authentic vibration. When you emit freedom, you will live in freedom. When you emit scarcity, you will always feel lack. Everything you experience does not come from words. It comes from the continuous waves of vibration pouring out of you, whether you are aware of it or not. So it's not always about receiving what you want. You receive what you are. And then you begin to understand, awakening is not a moment of explosion, but a quiet shift in the way you perceive. You no longer react impulsively to the world outside. You begin to observe from a deeper place, a place of stillness. Your vibration becomes your top priority, for you know it is the true language you are communicating with the universe. Eckhart Tolle once said, "Presence is the key." When you are present, truly present, not labeling, not analyzing, not judging, you transcend the noisy waves of the past and future. You return to the true center of your original frequency, and from that place you begin to emit your purest vibration, the vibration of awakening. You no longer chase after anything because you have become it. You no longer beg for peace. You are peace. You don't try to love, you become love. And when you are in that state, everything around you begins to shift. You don't need to force. You don't need to prove. You simply attract, like a magnetic field pulling in what is in resonance. Not because it wants, but because it is the law. Attraction doesn't come from effort, it comes from harmony. The more you learn to adjust within, the less you are shaken by the outside. Chaos is no longer your enemy, but a signal that you need to adjust. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You ask, "What am I emitting that draws this to me?" Taking full responsibility is no longer a burden, but a power. Because once you understand that you are the one sending the signal, you also realize you are the one who can change everything. Not through struggle, but through elevating your frequency. Deepak Chopra calls it the law of subtle response, where every vibration sent out will find its way back to its source, like a message sent out, then returned. And when you practice this long enough, you'll see that. Nothing is random, and no one is a victim. There are only those who are transmitting signals they do not realize. So if your life feels chaotic, don't try to scream into the wind. Sit down, be still, become the observer of thoughts you've never noticed, the emotions you try to hide, the default assumptions you live with every day. Then you will see what you believe is reality is merely a reflection of some deep frequency inside you. And that can change, not through the power of will, but through the shift of your vibrational state. The more you let go, the more you accept, the more you appreciate, the higher your vibration will rise. And at that moment, the universe can do nothing but reflect that change back. And then you begin to experience an entirely new form of belief. Not blind faith in external things, but a deep belief in the energy field operating within you. Neville Goddard called it the feeling of the wish fulfilled, a vibrational state in which you no longer expect what you want, but live as though it is already true, not pretending, not imagining as an escape, but adjusting your inner frequency to match the reality you want to step into. For in the eyes of the universe, there is no concept of time as you know it. No will be or waiting. There is only one thing, the present state you are emitting, and you always, always attract what aligns with it. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you stood in awe of the beauty of an ordinary moment? It doesn't have to be anything grand. A ray of light shining through the curtains, a cool breeze brushing against your skin, a deep breath that you truly felt. It is in those seemingly small moments where you recalibrate your frequency. You cannot deceive the universe with words. You cannot beg for what you want while vibrating with a sense of lack. No amount of affirmations can override limited energy. You must become the one who already has it, not by forcing yourself to appear positive, but by melting into the feeling of abundance, trust, and connection. Greg Braden once said, "Emotions are the bridge between mind and the universe." And it is that emotion, when pure, when unforced, when not demanding, that opens the door to the correct vibration. This is when you realize that belief is no longer theory, it is a frequency. The more you relax in trust, the more you withdraw from fear, the more you allow, the lighter you become. and the universe has no choice but to respond to the energy you are living in. There is no reward system, only a feedback system. You are not rewarded for being kind. You are not rewarded for being grateful. You simply align with the flow of life. And in that flow, everything you need finds its way to you. Not by pressure, not by exhausting effort, but by harmony. You begin to understand that miracles do not happen from the outside in. They begin from within. And when your inner world changes in a true and profound way, nothing in the material world can remain unchanged. Your frequency is a wave. Waves have no boundaries. Waves transcend time and space, and waves always return to their source. And if the wave always returns to its source, then the only remaining question is, what are you broadcasting? It's not what you want. It's not what you think. It's how you feel with every breath you take, every emotion you allow to flow through your body, every belief silently ingrained in your subconscious, every choice you make in silence. All of these are signals sent straight into the quantum field, where every possibility exists simultaneously. And the universe is not biased. It doesn't filter, it doesn't analyze, it simply responds. Energy does not lie. You can fool yourself with a smile, with empty positive words, with the mask you put on every day to hide the confusion, anxiety, or unhealed wounds. But the universe doesn't listen to words. It listens to your vibration. It hears the silences between your laughter. It feels the invisible cracks beneath your hard exterior. And it returns to you exactly that frequency. No more, no less. Look at it directly without fear. This is not a condemnation. This is empowerment. Because if you are the source of the signal, then you are the only one who can shift the entire reality you experience, starting from within. Tesla once said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And do you know what the wonderful part is? You are energy. You are an electromagnetic field breathing, feeling, creating waves with every action. Whether you're sitting in stillness in meditation or walking down the street with a scattered mind, the universe doesn't care where you are geographically. It cares where you are vibrationally. You may be living in a humble room, but if your heart is full of gratitude, love, and peace, you are living in an energetic palace that the universe knows how to find. On the other hand, you could have everything externally: wealth, status, fame. But if you are filled with doubt, fear, and a sense of scarcity inside, that is the vibration you are sending out. And you will receive circumstances that reflect exactly that. This is when you realize no one is doing anything to you. There is no universe against you. There is no fixed fate taunting you. It's just you and the frequency you choose to maintain in every moment. And every moment is an opportunity to change everything. And that is the door, not a door opened by an external key, but the door of vibration. It only opens when you are still enough to hear the call from within. You don't need to fix your entire self to begin. You don't need to become perfect, enlightened, or suddenly high frequency. You just need to be honest. Honest enough to acknowledge your true feelings, face the old wounds, and from there, gradually raise your vibration little by little. There is no miraculous leap. There is a shift. There are waves that ripple in tune with authenticity, gratitude, and choosing the positive without pretending. You don't raise your frequency by denying the darkness. You raise your frequency by embracing the darkness with the light of awareness. That is the vibration the universe understands. Not the shout of, "I'm ready," but the quiet whisper, "I am present." That presence carries an incredibly high frequency. Eckhart Tolle calls it the power of now, not because the present is where you should be, but because only in the present can you truly vibrate. Every recollection of the past is simply a memory carrying an electric charge. Every worry about the future is just an imagined thought with emotional attachment. But when you return to the present, truly feeling, truly being in your body, in your breath, in your heartbeat, you enter synchronization. And it is there that the universe listens, not through words, but through the state you are emitting. You can meditate for hours, read dozens of books, repeat affirmations, but if your foundational state is still fear, still scarcity, then that is the signal the quantum field is receiving. Awakening is not an event. It is a series of choices, a continual return, a silent commitment to yourself. I will no longer vibrate from the place where I was wounded. I will emit the frequency of where I am healing. And the miracles begin to happen not because you force them, but because you synchronize with them. You don't need to chase after what you want. You just need to stop emitting energy against it. Peace does not come from controlling everything. It comes when you no longer vibrate with the fear of losing control. And in that very space, where you sit with yourself, where you release resistance, where you stop trying to prove and simply be, you reach the frequency that the universe cannot ignore. Because you no longer beg, you no longer wait, you become. And everything in your surrounding space begins to adjust to reflect you, your true self, without straining, without fear, without pretense. Just a pure, powerful, undisturbed point of resonance. And when you become that, not through force, but through a profound harmony with your truest nature, the universe can do nothing but respond, not because you deserve it more than anyone else, but because you've stopped resisting. You've stopped emitting the frequency of fear, lack, and struggle. You've stopped living in the separation between you and Source. Synchronicity doesn't occur when you shout affirmations. It happens when you're silent enough for your frequency to resonate with the heart of the universe. You begin to see repeating numbers. Opportunities appear as if from nowhere. People enter your life not through logic, but through the rhythm of the soul. You no longer force yourself to follow a plan. You feel guidance coming from intuition, from the stillness between two thoughts, from a deep knowing that needs no external proof. And you walk, not because you're sure, but because you trust the rhythm of resonance. You no longer search to become someone, because you realize you already are everything you've been looking for. And this is the moment when the universe bows in response, not as a reward, but as a natural reflection. The universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. Become gratitude, and you'll see miracles. Become peace, and you'll step into a different reality. Become light, not by trying to shine on others, but by no longer hiding the light within you. Because in the end, you don't need to shout to be heard. You just need to vibrate at the right frequency. And the universe will whisper, "I am here."